I mean, things that keep cropping up, maybe things that you regret, maybe betrayal that happened to you. Let's talk about it. 1-800-229-3000. Becky Brown is also the president of New Life Ministries. And what's on your mind as we start today's program, Becky?
Well, just what you just were talking about, Brian, we do all have a story. And I wonder about the stories that we tell ourselves. Sometimes it's not the story. It is the story that we've told ourselves. It's the narrative that we live by. And in counseling world, a lot of times we help people reframe and really understand what the truth is about their lives. We can get stuck in our woundedness. We talk about trauma a lot here, and sometimes we can get stuck because we're afraid to go deeper and really unpack what has happened. Or maybe we're just so angry and our mind is made up. Don't confuse me with the facts. I just want to stay there. One of my favorite sayings, it's kind of tongue in cheek, that says, those of you who think you know everything are annoying to those of us who do. And I think sometimes in this culture, we're so certain that we know it all, and that also applies to our own story. And we disengage from relationships, and we stay stuck in our anger, and we talk about justifiable resentment. But let me tell you, in therapy, we talk about this from a standpoint of cognitive distortions, where we have a story and then we add to it or take away from it, and it distorts what the truth is. And so some of the ways that we talk about cognitive distortions are all or nothing thinking. We make vows, I'll never do that again, or I always mess up. There's overgeneralization that's really close to all or nothing thinking. Sometimes we disqualify the positive. We can't reframe to look at what could be a good outcome from the experience. We also jump to conclusions. We magnify or we minimize the story. And it's on the show where people will call and they'll say, my spouse is a narcissist. We're real adept to apply diagnosis to people, and we're not really equipped, and that doesn't really help us. So when you're thinking about these cognitive distortions, or even the story, maybe you're stuck in a story. It could have been that you were justified in, being angry or hurt or wounded. But how do we get through it, and how do we move to another place? Well, the first step is awareness. Being aware of the story that you are living in and how it may be blocking you from living your new life, living full and free. And the other part is the second step, and we talk about this a lot in the recovery world, acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean agreement. It just means it is what it is, and what am I going to do with it? We want to help you understand yourself and your situation, because there is a whole new life in front of you. I know I'm using that a lot, but you get what I'm talking about. If you're stuck, don't stay there. There's a whole lot of life in front of you, and God has a plan for your life, and we can help you move through that stuck place. That's what I got today.
That's wonderful. So if you're frozen right now, frozen in fear, frozen of the past, frozen for the future, give us a call. Let's talk. 1-800-229-3000. We're here for 2 hours today with Becky Brown and Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris.
I was stuck. I was so stuck. 27 years married. My husband addicted to pornography for the majority of our marriage. I was very isolated and didn't really know which way to turn.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Washington, D.C. November 7th to the 9th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
You guys helped me figure out what was going on.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Did you know that New Life has a monthly newsletter? Yeah, you can subscribe to it. Go to newlife.com, go down to the footer, and you'll see where you can sign up, and you'll get that newsletter monthly, because it's a monthly newsletter. That's how those work. 1-800-229-3000 is our number, and we're going to begin our time on the phones with Kathy, who's listening to us on KKLA in Long Beach, California. Hi, Kathy. Welcome to New Life Live.
Hi. Good morning. How are you?
Doing wonderful.
I'm happy to hear your program all the time. And my issue is my sister, she is 48 years old, has been diagnosed with bipolar schizophrenia. She was diagnosed this back in November. She's been in and out of the hospitals for the last 5 months. She hasn't worked since May. The doctors have been asking about any something traumatic that may have happened in her life that has made her like this. And quite honestly, there was a very traumatic thing, and it's the only thing we could think of. She is fixated on child trafficking. Her daughter, who is 24, is bipolar, and she insisted that her daughter have a relationship with her father, which ended up being he was taking her on weekends, and this started probably a few years back, and it's come to where he is in jail for raping and molesting her, and it had been going on for quite a while. My sister, when she started trying to reintroduce her to her father, I asked her, why are you doing that? I said, he's got a very bad past with his own children. And I hate to say, her answer was, look, I need money, and she needs to get a relationship with him, so I start getting some money for helping. So I'm thinking that's her traumatic experience. But now, up to today, she's been in and out of the hospital. She's always worked. She hasn't worked for a year. Her fiancé, who she's lived with for 4 years, has finally said, I can't do it. The police have been going to his work and everything because she's accused him of beating her up and taking boys into his work van and molesting them. He just said when she comes out of the hospital, because she's in and out, he said it's gotten worse 3 times. About a month ago, the police are at his job and at their house. Now we're at the point to where, what do we do? Yeah. I'm 70, sister's 73. Her daughter's 24 and bipolar, and she's been a therapist due to this past. And now they want her removed from the hospital because her insurance doesn't work.
Okay.
So what do we do? What is our options here? She needs help.
Yeah.
And
Dr. Jacqui, we'll start with you.
I think you should see if you can work with the courts to find her a conservator, someone that's not you, so that you guys aren't responsible for her care. I recently had experience with this with someone from our church. One of the ladies from our church, her sister ended up in the hospital, and that was what they were able to do, and it changed everything. The courts were able to find her a shelter, and then that was able to change into a home, and so they are making sure she gets the care that she needs because she's now a ward of the state. They're helping her stay on her medications and making sure that she has the disability money coming in and that it's not being mishandled by somebody else. And so I would look into seeing if you can get her conservatorship and take it out of your hands. And then also that you all be in your own therapy to process what's going on, because it's difficult to have a family member with severe mental illness.
Becky?
Yes.
Well, Kathy, I'm sure over the years, this has been kind of your relationship with her too, right? It may be at the apex now, but it sounds like there's always been something going on with her. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yes. She was born, well, I'm 72, she's 48. So she was, my mom says that was a oops. But she's always, we didn't live in the same house. We didn't grow up with her. And she's always was, I hate to say, very, very spoiled. My mother gave her whatever she wanted, and she really started acting out at the age of 15. But she really hasn't even been in our life for the last few years because we'd, invite her over for Christmas, but she just kind of stayed away from us. And now it's like, gee, we would see her very,
So what do you feel like this is requiring of you?
I feel really bad. You know, I'm 70, but I still work part-time. And that's one thing I was telling my brother, who my brother's in the picture. He's 60. And I just said, I have a 2-bedroom house. I can't take her in here, and I work still. And I hate to say it, but my brother and my sister and her daughter, it was a very dysfunctional house.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very dysfunctional house. Background-wise.
But the reason why I'm asking this, Kathy, is a lot of times when you have a loved one who has bipolar disorder and with this other additional diagnosis of schizophrenia, it can create like this magnetism of, I've got to do something to calm this down or to help or to do something. But you just said that you really haven't been part of her journey up to this point. And I love what you just said, Jacqui, about not only the conservatorship, but also your own support, Kathy, because this is tough because you maybe just have to step back and watch. And that is so hard when you're going through this with somebody who's really troubled. And to see a therapist that can help you process that, but to recognize, this goes back to that acceptance thing. You're not going to be able to control the situation, but you can get into a place where you can understand that you've done the best that you can. I'm also concerned about the 24-year-old, that she gets the help that she needs for her own recovery. This was a horrendous experience that your sister and the 24-year-old experienced with the father of her. And that's going to take a lot of work to recover.
Exactly. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we can feel guilty too, or a bit of shame if we are not making the situation better, almost like we don't care. And
right.
And,
exactly.
And so, that would be something for you to be able to work through with the counselor too, because you want to help, but also you don't want the impact that this will have on your life. And so you're setting some boundaries and trying to make the best decision for yourself, as well as provide or care for or give direction to your sister. So I definitely would seek some good counsel so that you can process what's happened for you, and just the life story that you were talking about, that it was, dysfunctional in that home. And so you got out, but the others were still there. And there may even be some survivor's remorse or guilt, things like that can create tension and stress, and you can work through it and talk it out, that in a way that helps you to have more freedom, even though your sister is still in this mental struggle. Because unfortunately, when they're adults, there's nothing we can really do if they won't go get the help for themselves. So we can just give them the guidance and the direction. And that's why I suggest the conservator, because they will maybe have a little more power, and that can leave you to be her sister.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I do understand that. I know it's hard because I know that some of the families say, well, my other sister, who's 73, she said they go to church all the time, and now they're turning their back on their own sister. And and so a part of that, too, I feel bad because I feel like I'm thinking about what they're thinking about me, and I need to stop that. I need to get past that.
Well, but, and sometimes, Kathy, that's easier said than done, right? But I always think of, what somebody thinks about me is none of my business, because I can't get in their head, and I need to focus on what my work is. And I think it's so hard to deal with the grief that naturally comes with this situation. It's, how do I know that I'm loving enough to just, I can't control it. I think let's send her a copy of Take Your Life Back, Brian. I think that'll help in this situation. And we can also connect her with a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And don't let anyone shame you, Kathy. You love the Lord and you go to church, and, God says there are some things that aren't ours to deal with. Some things are his to deal with. And people might have things to say, but they're not in your situation. And so they can't, and they're not in your mind. So don't let them speak over you. Don't let them speak things into your mind and your heart that are not true of you.
Kathy, thanks for calling us today here on New Life Live. 1-800-229-3000 is the number. Take Your Life Back is the name of the book that we're going to send you. It's available in the newlife.com store. And now we're going to go to Susan in South Carolina, listening on Sirius XM channel 131. Hi there, Susan. You're on New Life Live.
Hi. Thank you so much for your show and for taking my call.
You bet.
My situation... Yes, ma'am. My situation is I have an adult alcoholic in recovery, 40-year-old with a child. My mother is in a retirement home, miserable with anxiety, and my marriage is questionable. So I am a Christian. I pray, and I'm doing better, but I just am overwhelmed. When you said frozen with fear, that was my name. And genetically, I see that my mom has this situation with this paralyzing fear, and my sister out of 6 of us and my child. So I pray diligently to overcome this. Have you got any other strategies?
Yes. Yes, we do.
Yes.
We're glad you called.
Yes. There are some strategies that I'll give you in a moment that can help you ground yourself in the moment.
Ma'am.
But the first
Thank
thing
you.
I'm going to tell you is you need a therapist. You need somebody.
Okay.
Have you gone to therapy yet?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And it has helped so much. And she's done a wonderful job, and I'm going now every week, and she's through the church, so she's a Christian therapist. The problem is I get out of there, and I'm so renewed, and I'm so excited, and I go exercise, and I feel great. And then I lay my head down at night, and all these creepy thoughts come in and kind of refocus me on what I don't want to be focused on.
Yeah, you're going to have to do some exercises to shift what you do with that information at night. I recommend meditation, and I know a lot of Christians get weirded out by that word, but if you pray, you're meditating.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So
That's right.
you're gonna just look at doing a type of meditation that can literally focus directly on meditation
and medication,
maybe, right? That might be.
That was a Freudian.
Yes.
Yeah, it probably was.
No, it's the
It
yeah.
was probably the
both
Holy
can
Spirit was probably speaking and saying, "Yeah, medication." But so keep that in mind too. There are medications that can settle you down enough for the work you're doing with your therapist to take better hold.
Okay,
But
in a temporary. Yeah.
Has your therapist taught you grounding techniques like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or 4 square breathing?
No, that's what I need. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. That is going to be really helpful to you if you can learn how to ground yourself. And I think we can probably send a resource. I'm thinking right now. Give me a moment. I'll think while Becky has some ideas.
I was thinking of You Are What
Of
You
course.
Think by Dave Stoup, because he, in that book, Dave talks about using scripture to meditate on. But even Jacqui, we can talk about the grounding techniques. You know, the 4 square breathing. I do that on a regular basis, because when you recognize where the anxiety shows up, you have a lot of power connecting your mind, body, and spirit. And so it's basically you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4, you blow out for 4, and repeat. And I know that sounds so simple, but most of us who are dealing with anxiety are literally holding our breath. And we need our breath to be able to process what that energy is doing inside of us. And working out is great too. I have a couple other things, and I want Jacqui to talk about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding techniques, Brian, after the break, if we can.
Yes, we definitely can. And we'll continue our conversation with Susan and everyone else who wants to call in and talk to Jacqui Mack-Harris and Becky Brown. 1-800-229-3000 is our number, and we're taking your calls for 2 hours. We would love to hear from you today on New Life Live. Don't carry your problems into the weekend. Let's get them solved today. 1-800-229-3000.
We've been married 33 years. We attended the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop, Even though we've read books or attended a few other marriage weekends, this was certainly different and a lot more intensive than initially that we thought.
When you come to intimacy in marriage, you're going to be immersed into a 3-day process.
Was not really sure exactly what to expect, but the idea of learning to really understand intimacy was intriguing. We had been in the same patterns of struggle over and over again.
If you've thought, I don't think we can ever change, we're just in this rut and we can't get out, the Intimacy in Marriage Workshop can help you get out of the rut.
The Intimacy in Marriage Weekend is July 25th to the 27th in Washington, D.C. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50. 1-800-639-5433.
I would highly recommend it.
Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Questions and comments galore. We would love to hear them today on New Life Live. 1-800-229-3000 is our number. We've got Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris and Becky Brown here. We were talking to Susan, who's listening to us in Columbia, South Carolina. And one of you was going to go, was it you, Jacqui, who was going to talk about the one of the 5-4-3-2-1?
Yeah, another grounding technique to use is 5-4-3-2-1, and it's basically thinking of your surroundings and using your 5 senses. And so you start by grounding your feet on the floor, making sure you're sitting with your feet on the floor, and you can feel that carpet, or you can feel that tile under your feet, or concrete, wherever you are. And then you, in your mind, you say, okay, I need to see 5 things. What are 5 things I can see around me? And you just notice them. And then 5 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. And you just work through the senses, and you just keep doing it until you feel your body get back to calm. For sleeping, one of the things that you're struggling with is the racing thoughts. And I use Headspace for my meditation, and so I learned this in the Headspace app, how to rest my body and do some breathing exercises. So I would do that 4-square breathing and just focus on my breathing. And once I felt that my body was relaxed and calm, then I would start to walk back through my day. And what I've learned is if I walk back through my day, then when I put my head on the pillow, the day is already done. It's not chasing me because I've already given it space. I actually now do this in the shower or on my way to getting ready for bed. I can almost do it automatically now, just kind of thinking back through my day, thinking back through my clients, thinking back through the different encounters that I had, and then putting them to bed, releasing them. And it's kind of helping my brain to catalog things. Sometimes when we have anxiety, we're holding on to it. We won't let it go because we're afraid we'll forget or we'll miss something or mess something up. And so one of the big things is for you to learn how to let things go. And I imagine that you have a lot of things that you could probably release, but don't quite know how to do that yet.
Correct. That is exactly. And may I comment that I heard you say us. So am I in a good company? Does everybody feel this way, or am I?
I was going to say
good company. Yes.
I was going to say,
on
Susan.
the right side of the bell curve.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you are.
Like I'm at
Susan.
Okay.
At the break, I said to Jacqui, so many women identify with what you're going through, Susan. And I said, no offense, Brian, but we women are the caretakers, generally speaking. And so when you were talking about your mom and you're talking about this adult daughter and the granddaughter, and then, are you still working? Are you working?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So see, then
Yes,
there's
ma'am.
that too. And so
And we don't know your age, but menopause starts to kick in, and that hits you hard and messes with your emotional regulation.
Right, and I just want to say
older than that, but I do.
Well,
I'm
that's
a caretaker role as a job too. So
okay. So then you have to have a strategy.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I need. Thank you for these.
And your husband, you were about to say your husband?
He has the same exact life, and I can hear him snoring while I'm over there twirling like a pencil.
Yeah. That tracks.
Yeah, that tracks. It sure does. Yeah. And Susan, all of these techniques are an effort to get you where your feet are, as opposed to what anxiety wants to do is take us on a trip forward, backwards, all over, but where we are. And so learning and practicing, it's going to take a minute. And I do think that there is a role where medication, your health, actually even the exercise that you're doing, if you're doing too much cardio, it can actually exacerbate the anxiety. So it may be good to consult with a personal trainer who recognizes older women's healthcare, because there is a difference. We need that strength training, but, and I know that sounds so random, but it all comes together when we're talking about our mind, body, and spirit. And the fact that you can recognize that anxiety is, we want to address that, but you're not alone. And let's send her You Are What You Think by Dave Stoop. It will help her in the process of learning to meditate on scripture.
Yeah, there's a scripture too. I can't remember what it is right now, but I think it's in Ecclesiastics. But you have to get to a place where you are okay with what's happening in the changes of time, and releasing and knowing that you can't control everything, and that your thoughts are okay, but not necessarily meant to drive you. And I think sometimes we worry too much. That's where it is. Thank you, Holy Spirit. We worry about the future, and we fret over the past. And so often we say depression is being stuck in the past and those regrets and not being able to move forward, and being fearful of how that will keep impacting you. And then anxiety comes from, thinking about the future and worrying about things that haven't happened yet, that we have no control over yet. So just read that book and find the other scriptures in there and learn to meditate on those, and give yourself permission to release some things.
There's that word meditation again, which we hear and Christians freak out. We're not supposed to, that's a yoga thing, or, Hindu, and breathing. We're talking about breathing techniques. Yes. And it's like the enemy's trying to take breathing away from us. It's like, no, yeah. this it's a God thing.
The thing that gave us life.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So we just got to learn these different techniques, and this was great. I'm so glad we archive all of our episodes. You can go back and listen to what Becky and Jacqui were just telling Susan. And we want to talk to you. We're going to take calls for 2 hours today at 1-800-229-3000. I see Lydia holding. We're going to go to you when we come back from the break here on New Life Live.
Early on, looking at pornography that went into affairs, massage parlors, strip clubs with buddies. Before you know it, you're ashamed of that.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity, impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography.
My wife got a phone call, and she asked me who this person was, and man, how do I get myself out of this one?
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
When she said to me, I want you to look at this website named Every Man's Battle, she had me look, and I said, no, this is exactly where I need to be. This is exactly the problems I have, and I'm gonna go.
You don't have to struggle any longer. Get help in Denver, Colorado, June 6th through the 8th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back here on New Life Live. Thank you so much for listening and for watching us as well on YouTube and NRB TV and Facebook. We're going to go right back to the phones and talk to Lydia, who called 1-800-229-3000. Lydia listens to us on KWRD in Texas. Hi there, Lydia. Thanks for calling in today. Lydia, are you there? Did you press mute on your phone, Lydia? Lydia? Oh, man. Okay, we might have to go back and check on Lydia to see what's going on there. We see her question on the screen, so I could just read it, but I would like to talk to Lydia to see what, maybe get some more details on what's going on.
Yeah. We might be able to connect with her. You know, I was thinking at the break, we were talking about how so many people are struggling with things that are very difficult, and yet they show up at their jobs, they, you know, move about in the world, you see them in the grocery store, and they all look like fine. I mean, well, there might be some people that don't look fine, but you know what I'm saying, is that everyone is struggling with something. And when Susan was, you know, checking with us to make sure that she wasn't the only one, I just want to say to those of you who are listening, your voice matters. If you need help, we can help you, but you're not struggling alone. You might be struggling alone, but you don't have to, is, you know, what my point is. But,
and
you know,
Diane popped her head in and said Susan during the break did the four-square breathing and felt better.
Oh, wow.
See, you know, it's something as easy as that. You know, this is the reason why we ask you to support New Life.
Yes.
We receive your gifts and pass them along to the people through the blogs, you know, tips and resources like our articles, our books, our counselors, our workshops, our intensives. We help people get to their new life. God works through our counselors and our coaches, through even our call center. When somebody calls and that heavy phone, you know, just to make that first call can be so difficult. But I can't thank you enough for supporting New Life and everything that we do. You're making a difference in the lives of so many people. And right now we have the match going on, and we're getting ever closer to fulfilling that $500,000 seed. And we want to encourage you, every dollar will be doubled. You can give today and make a difference and help us meet the match. Brian, why don't you tell them how they can give?
Well, there's three ways. They can call 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or they can go to newlife.com, or they can text the word match to 28950. Can you imagine, Becky and Jacqui, how many more lives New Life can help with $1 million? Because that's what this is. This is $500,000 that our listeners give. It's matched. That's $1 million that we would put towards continuing to help people.
And maybe you make the commitment to give to the match and give up your cup of coffee for the day. I'm not even going to mention a national coffee provider, but it could be, that is the difference that you could make in just something as simple as that, but it could make an impact in a life. Just recently, I was going through the testimonials of just this year's workshops up to this point. Mm-hmm. And over again, the gratitude to New Life for helping people get unstuck. It's just really profound. And so thank you in advance for giving to the match, for making a difference. And we want to help you. We want to continue to help you for years to come.
Becky, you mentioned the testimonials. It took me quite a while to read my survey responses after intimacy and marriage because I kept crying, and I'm an emotional avoider in recovery, and so I need to do that sparingly. So I did it over a long period of time. But every one of them talked about how important that weekend was and how necessary it was and how grateful they were that someone pushed them to come. And some of them got the help for scholarships and wouldn't have been able to come without that. And so it really does help people. I have a client that did one of the intensives, Emotional Freedom, a year ago, and it changed his life. It changed his marriage, and he couldn't have afforded it. New Life paid for it all. And so he's still really grateful for that. And so people just hear our heart. The giving really does matter. The giving really does matter.
I love that because I was reading your surveys too, Jacqui, and of course your stellar counselor. I was reading one of the Every Man's Battle testimonials, and he said that back in 2017 he was caught looking at porn, and his then fiance said, "Please go to Every Man's Battle." Well, he didn't go, and in 2021 he was arrested for so his addiction had escalated, and then he got the help. But don't wait to get the help that you need, whether it's something like sexual integrity or maybe you're just stuck someplace in your life. We can help. We have been helping people for a long time, and don't wait.
No, don't wait. And in fact, something that might keep people from calling into our radio program is because maybe they think that when they call in and we get their name and we get their city and their question, and then we might ask them, hey, can you make a donation to New Life? And that's not how it works. We just answer their questions. We hope that it helps them, and maybe they will voluntarily donate, but it's not a hard sell. It's not anything like that where we try to get people to contribute when they call in.
Yeah, right. And usually not. And if you're afraid, sorry, Jacqui, if you're afraid to call in, we have ways for you to submit questions. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to do that.
Right.
There's so many ways to have your situation be heard and to get the help that you need. And then we have so many great resources that we can send you or that you can find online. I've run into several people who have been New Life listeners for a while, and they talk about how encouraging it has been. And I've met a couple of people who said New Life was their therapy for a very long time. And then they called in one day and they actually got connected with a therapist. Mm-hmm. And so I just really encourage people out there, call us. Yes, please give. Please help us with this match. But call us. Call us with your questions. Call us with your concerns. Call us with your challenges, and so that we can talk them out. There's somebody else who needs to hear your story.
Yeah. Yep. Indeed, and the number to call us today is 1-800-229-3000. We're taking calls for a total of 2 hours today. Hour number 1 is almost done, but we're going to stick around in the studio for another hour, and we would love to hear from you. Now, if you can't call in when we're here, like right now, you can also go to newlife.com/radio, and you'll learn the other ways that you can get your question to us, which include email, or you can leave a voicemail, and then we can answer it here on the radio program. But the number to call us right now, 1-800-229-3000. Really quick, I did write something down and want to get to it before we go back to the phones. But we were talking about our caller who said that she'll go to therapy, then she'll go to the gym, and then everything is going great. And as she's laying there in bed, that's when the thoughts start coming to mind. What is it about the nighttime hours that cause us to remember either all the bad things that happened that day, or even things that happened 40 years ago will just all of a sudden jump into our mind. What is it about nighttime that does that?
I think it's a part of the process, because when we lay down flat, we're starting to rest our body, and I think our mind goes into cataloging, and it starts to do what it needs to do to put all those things we saw or heard into the right places, into the right boxes. And often that happens after we fall asleep, but for some of us, our anxiety keeps us revved and awake. These thoughts feel like danger. And anxiety is our fire alarm. Anxiety says there's something wrong, there's a problem, there's a tiger chasing you, you're in danger, move faster, be stronger. And so when you lay down in bed and anxiety crops up because of the thoughts, it's disordered. That's not healthy anxiety. That's not helpful anxiety, because you're laying in bed. There's nothing going on. And so that's why I shared with Susan to let yourself think of the day's events and activities, because I think we get stuck being awake because we keep trying to stop it. And you're trying to stop thinking about things that your body actually needs to release. And so let it come up and then release it. Let the next thought come up and then release it. Some people need to write, and so I have some clients keep a notepad by their bed, and so they can write it down. I know if I have things that aren't on my calendar that I just like got an email or something right before bed, I won't be able to go to sleep until I put it on my calendar. So keeping a notepad next to the bed can be helpful too.
It reminds me of Psalm 63, and I used to read this when I would have trouble, but verse 6 says, "On my bed, I remember you. I think of you through the watches of the night, because you are my help. I sing in the shadow of your wings. I cling to you. Your right hand upholds me." That whole passage, I mean, it even starts with, "You, God, are my God. Earnestly I seek you." And a lot of times when we go to bed at night, like you said, Jacqui, our brain starts to race, and we can ground ourselves in the Word of God in those moments. And eventually, because you are meditating on the Word, you memorize it, and it becomes the first thought that you go to. God is faithful to help you through this.
Yes, he is. 1-800-229-3000. Let's talk today on New Life Live.
Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learn a lot from your program.
You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Ladies, if you've experienced sexual betrayal, I want you to visit newlife.com/restore. You can download our free guide to help you deal with the trauma. On that page, you can also listen to short interviews with women who have experienced betrayal and hear what helped them in their healing. While you're there, you can also check out the details of our next Restore Healing After Betrayal workshop intensive. It's happening November 7th in Washington, D.C. We'd love to see you there to start your path of healing like thousands of other ladies have already done. Again, go to newlife.com/restore. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call today here on New Life Live, and we're going to be in the studio for the next hour plus. So call us up, and we're going to go to this call here. Don't have your name yet, but what is your question?
Hello?
Hi, what's your name? First name.
Oh, my first name is Heidi, and I just was calling to thank you all. I am a member, and I do listen on a regular basis. And one of the things that I mentioned is that I very often will pray when I hear people call in and they have issues, or I shouldn't say issues. We all have different things that we're dealing with. But I last week was not able to call. There was a gal, I believe her name may have been Angie, and it was prior to Mother's Day weekend, and I believe that she had just lost her mother, and I was heading out the door, and I wasn't able to really take the whole call or hear all of what she shared, but I was a caregiver for my dear mother, for both of my parents, and lost my mother Mother's Day weekend. Not this year, but it is a reminder that each day is a gift in our people. The people that God brings into our life are gifts, but I just wanted to say that it is a privilege to be able to hear the callers and thank you all for the advice that you all give. So I'm calling not as much with a question, but as a statement just to continue to pray for one another. When you hear callers calling in and they have, whatever the situation is, just use it as an opportunity to pray for one another.
Absolutely.
And because my dear mother died Mother's Day weekend, it's still difficult. I mean, it's been a few years now, and it does get maybe a little bit easier. And I also wanted to encourage people to do grief share, grief support, because that is really, really helpful.
Yeah.
And
Heidi, can I just want to say thank you for your compassion. Yeah. And also just the way that, the fact that you would take time to pray for our callers and that you recognize this, but how incredible that you heard that call and you could align with the caller's experience, because this is part of your experience. And grief is a difficult journey, and it sounds like you're continuing through it. You've done, what you can, but what I want to do, I don't know if you heard the beginning of this program, but I want to reframe your Mother's Day experience, because while you did lose her on that day, I don't know how old she was. How old was she, Heidi?
88, and both my parents were 88 and 89, and I was a caregiver for both of them.
Okay, and it's a lot. That goes back to our caller Susan, when you're taking care of people that you love. But I want you to be able to celebrate Mother's Day in a deep and meaningful way, not in a happy, skippy. Okay, good. How do you do that, Heidi? Because I think that's kind of what I was talking about at the beginning of reframing, so that it doesn't become the day that life ended. It did end for your mom, but she, I assume, is with Jesus now. And so you honor her life.
I hope and pray that she is, and it's an opportunity to pass on the love and the legacy that our beloved mothers give. And this past weekend, I'm just going to use it as an example. After church, there were 4 or 5 of us that got together that we have lost our mothers, and we decided we went out for Mother's Day.
Love it.
For lunch. And we also went to a garden and walked in the garden, and because it was a place of peace and beauty, and we could reflect, and so that was something that was special, and it was balming, like BALM, like a balm, like a for our souls, for our spirits, and so that was something that I do try to do. Initially, it's very, very, very difficult.
Yeah,
sure.
And but to try to look for other opportunities to encourage and support other people when they are going through loss.
Yep.
And difficulty.
Yeah.
Because we all do.
Yes. Thank you so much for calling in, Heidi.
Yep, for sure. Let's see if we can bring one more in this hour. Jean and Maryland, what did you want to tell us today on New Life Live? Jean, are you there? I think it's Jean.
Yes.
Yeah, hi.
Yes,
Quick, what's your comment?
No, it's just a comment. The comment was someone used the word meditate earlier as if it's something that we have to avoid as Christians, but there are several verses, and I just wanted to share. Genesis 24:63, and it says, "And Isaac went out to meditate in the field toward evening, and he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, there was camels coming." So the word meditate is used in the Word of God. So it's okay. That's what I wanted to share.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Jean. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, we pulled it up when we saw the call come in. So thank you for bringing that out and sharing it with the audience.
Yeah, and the only comment we were making about meditation, we weren't saying that meditation is a bad thing. We were saying it's a good thing. I think I might have made the comment that the world has used the word meditation in such a way that they associate it with, yoga and things like that. So when Christians hear the word meditation, a lot of them freak out. We're not supposed to meditate. And then it's like, well wait. Open your Bible. You don't have to look very far. Look, Genesis 24. It's right there at the beginning.
Right there.
Well, and even Joshua 1:8 says, "Keep this book of law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful." So Joshua 1:8 as well. So it's great day to meditate.
Yes, and at night too, especially when those
that's right.
crazy thoughts start going through your mind. I couldn't help but, Jacqui, when you were mentioning how we lay down in bed at night and everything starts getting categorized and everything else. It's like that movie from a few years ago, Inside Out. Did you watch that? Yes. I'm sure every counselor and therapist has seen that movie. And
it is my favorite.
Yes.
I recommend it often.
Yes.
If you have not seen Inside Out, please see Inside Out 1 and 2. I know it's a cartoon. Some of you probably aren't into it, but it really tells a good story about how we can regulate and navigate our emotions.
Yes, indeed. All right, so we're going to take calls for another hour. Phone lines are still open. 1-800-229-3000 is the number. If you've been watching us on YouTube, you can call in with your question at 1-800-229-3000. We would love to hear from you. Make sure to visit our website, newlife.com. You can follow us on social media. You can subscribe to our monthly newsletter. That's always great to see what's going on behind the scenes here at New Life. We share stories and testimonies that our listeners send in. It's a really good resource to have. That's the New Life Ministries newsletter. You can get it at newlife.com. God bless you all. Phone line still open. 1-800-229-3000 for Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris and Becky Brown. I'm Brian Perez, and we'll talk to you next time here on New Life Live.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you. But you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.